The conference chamber on Olympus 7 station looked impressive with its crystal walls and floating display screens. Ambassador Park Ji-woo sat at the human delegation table, her face calm despite the anger burning in her chest. She had been coming to these meetings for 3 years now. 3 long years of listening to the Galactic Council make demands and issue orders like humanity were children who needed guidance. Across from her sat the council representatives. The Vexillum looked like tall insects with too many arms, always shuffling papers and recording everything. The Kryn were heavy-set warriors covered in thick scales, their eyes cold and calculating. The Shelthara appeared almost beautiful with their pale skin and graceful movements. But their words cut like knives wrapped in silk. "The matter is simple," said Vexillum Prime Director Zealous, his voice buzzing through the translator. "Humanity must accept the new integration protocols. Your expansion must be limited. Your military must be reduced. Your cultural practices must align with galactic standards." Ji-woo took a slow breath. "We have already accepted severe restrictions. Our people are frustrated. They feel like prisoners in their own space." Kryn War Chief Thrax laughed, a harsh sound like grinding stone. "Your people feel too much. That is the problem. Emotional species always cause problems. You need control. We need respect," Ji-woo said quietly. "We came to join the galaxy in peace. We offered friendship and trade. Instead, you treat us like criminals waiting to commit a crime." Shelthara Matriarch Velshara smiled, but her eyes remained cold. "We have experience with developing species. They always believe they are ready for full membership before they truly are. In time, you will understand we act in your best interests." Ji-woo wanted to throw something. These aliens spoke about humanity like they were talking about pets that needed training. But she kept her face smooth and professional. That was her job. Stay calm. Find compromise. Keep the peace. "What exactly are you proposing?" she asked. Zealous brought up a document on the display. "First, all human colony worlds will transfer sovereignty to council oversight. Second, humanity will participate in genetic stabilization programs to reduce aggression markers. Third, all human military vessels will carry council observers with veto authority over any actions." The words hit like punches. Ji-woo felt her throat tighten. They wanted humanity to surrender everything. Every freedom. Every right. They wanted humans to become servants in their own worlds. "You are asking us to give up our independence," she said slowly. "We are asking you to become civilized," Velshara replied. "Surely that is worth some temporary discomfort." Temporary. Ji-woo had heard that word for 3 years. Everything was temporary. The restrictions were temporary. The sanctions were temporary. The inspections were temporary. But they never ended. They only grew worse. "I need to consult with my government," Ji-woo said. "You have 24 hours, Thrax said. "Then we require your answer. Refuse, and there will be consequences." The meeting ended. Ji-woo walked back to the human section of the station with her aide, Lee Sang-min. Once they were in the secure room, she let her mask drop. Her hands shook with rage. "They are going to refuse," Sang-min said quietly. "Earth will never accept this." "I know," Ji-woo whispered. "But I thought I could find a way. I thought if we stayed patient, showed we were reasonable, they would meet us halfway. They do not see us as equals. They never will." Ji-woo knew he was right. She had known for months, maybe longer. But she had kept trying because the alternative was too terrible to consider. War with the entire Galactic Council would be suicide. Humanity was one species against thousands. They had 300 ships against the Council's tens of thousands. Her communication console beeped. An urgent message from the human colony at New Horizon. She opened it, and her blood turned to ice. The message was security footage. A human colony ship called the Morning Star was traveling through neutral space when Council peacekeepers demanded to board for inspection. The ship's captain tried to explain they had already been inspected twice that week, and were carrying only civilian passengers. The peacekeepers did not care. When the Morning Star tried to continue on its path, the peacekeepers opened fire. Ji-woo watched in horror as weapons ripped through the colony ship's hull. Escape pods launched, but the peacekeepers shot those too. 3,000 people died in less than 10 minutes. Men, women, children, families going to start new lives on the frontier. The footage showed one escape pod transmitting as it was destroyed. A woman held her child, singing softly. Then the screen went white. Ji-woo felt something break inside her chest. Not her heart. Something deeper. Some belief she had held that the universe was reasonable, that problems could be solved with words. That peace was always possible if both sides tried. She looked at Sang-min. His face was pale with shock and rage. "Get me a secure line to Earth," she said. Her voice sounded strange to her own ears. Flat, cold. "And request emergency council session in 1 hour. What are you going to say?" The truth. The council chamber filled quickly. Word had spread about some new development. The council representatives looked annoyed at being called back so soon. Ji-woo stood at the human podium and loaded the footage from the Morning Star onto the main display. "Before we discuss your demands," she said, "I want you to see what your peacekeepers did 6 hours ago." She played the footage. The chamber fell silent. Ji-woo watched the council members' faces as they saw the destruction, saw the escape pods being shot, saw that woman and her child in their final moments. When it ended, Zealous shuffled his papers. "They murdered 3,000 civilians," Ji-woo said. "They enforced council law," Thrax said. Velshara looked at Ji-woo with something like sympathy. "These incidents are regrettable, but order must be maintained. Surely, you understand." Ji-woo stared at them. These were the leaders of galactic civilization. These were the species who claimed to be advanced, enlightened, better than humanity. And they looked at footage of children being murdered and called it unfortunate, regrettable, necessary. She thought about her orders from Earth. There was a plan. There had always been a plan. For if things went wrong. Phoenix Protocol. 3 years of preparation for the possibility that the Council would never accept humanity as equals. She had hoped they would never need it. That hope died with the Morning Star. "I have a message from the human government," Ji-woo said quietly. Her voice carried across the silent chamber. "Effective immediately, humanity withdraws from all negotiations. We withdraw from all treaties. We reject Council authority over human space and human lives." The chamber erupted in noise. Zealous demanded order. Thrax stood, his scales rattling with anger. Ji-woo continued speaking, her voice cutting through the chaos. "You have 48 hours to remove all Council military forces from human territory. After that deadline, any Council ships in human space will be considered hostile." "You cannot be serious," Velshara said. "You need us. Your species cannot survive alone. We survived long before we met you," Ji-woo said. "We will survive after." She gathered her papers. "You wanted to know what humanity is really like. You wanted to see if we were civilized enough for your galaxy. Now you will see what we truly are. You wanted to find out if humans can be controlled." She looked each council member in the eye. "The answer is no." Ji-woo walked out of the chamber. Behind her, the council members shouted and argued. They thought she was bluffing. They thought humanity would come crawling back within days. They thought they held all the power. In her private room, Ji-woo sent the encrypted message to Earth. 3 words. Phoenix Protocol authorized. Then she sat down and cried. Not from fear, not from sadness. She cried because she knew what was coming. She cried because 3,000 people died to show her the truth. Peace was over. War was here. And the galaxy was about to learn a lesson written in blood and fire. The council members gathered in their private chamber after the humans left. Most of them looked annoyed rather than worried. Zealous organized his papers into neat stacks while he spoke. The humans will return within a week, he said. They always do. Lesser species make these dramatic gestures. Then reality forces them to accept our terms. Thrax pounded his fist on the table. We should send our fleet immediately. Show them what happens when species challenge the council. Number. Velshara nodded slowly. I agree. A small show of force will remind them of their place. How many ships do the humans have? 300? We will send 5,000. The war will be over before it truly begins. Not everyone agreed. A younger Vexillum named Solix raised one of his many hands. Forgive me, but I have studied the humans. They are more dangerous than you think. The older council members looked at him like he had said something stupid. They are one species, Zealous said. We are the combined might of the galaxy. Mathematics alone makes this simple. They have been preparing, Solix insisted. For 3 years. While we negotiated, they built defenses. They studied us. Enough. Thrax cut him off. I have fought 100 wars. I know what warriors look like. Humans are soft, emotional. They will break easily. The council voted. 5,000 ships would enter human space in 1 week. It would be a simple peacekeeping operation. Restore order. Remind humanity of reality. Then accept their surrender and implement the integration protocols. Simple. Far away on Earth, Admiral Choi Min-sok stood in the war room deep under Seoul. Around him, screens showed the positions of every human ship and station. 3 years of secret work was about to be tested. 3 years of preparing for the war everyone hoped would never come. Phoenix Protocol is active, his aide reported. Min-seok studied the tactical displays. The council was assembling a fleet at their staging area in the Talos sector. 5,000 ships. It was more than the entire human navy. On paper, humanity had no chance. But paper did not win wars. Activate the ghost stations, he ordered. I want every surprise ready. And send the activation codes to our people on council worlds. Sir, that means war. Real war. The war started when they shot the Morning Star, Min-seok said quietly. We are just making it official. He thought about his orders from Earth's government. Fight smart. Fight dirty. Use every advantage. The council expected an honorable war between professional militaries. They were going to get something very different. When the council fleet entered human space a week later, they came with confidence. Their commanders had fought many wars. They knew how these things went. The humans would have their ships in defensive formations around their most important worlds. There would be a few battles. The humans would fight bravely but lose. Then, surrender would come. The fleet admiral was a Kryn named South 9. He had won 17 campaigns. This would be his 18th. An easy one to add to his record. Sensors show no human ships in this sector, his officer reported. Perhaps they retreated to defend their homeworld. Then we advance. Xalth 9 said. Standard formation. Proceed to the first human colony. The fleet moved forward through the asteroid field. That was when everything went wrong. The asteroids exploded. Thousands of them. They were not asteroids at all, but mines disguised to look like rocks. The explosions ripped through the council formation. Ships collided trying to avoid the blasts. Shields overloaded. Hulls cracked. Before Xalth 9 could even give orders, human ships appeared. Not in neat formations. They came from everywhere. From behind asteroids. From inside debris clouds. Some were disguised as wreckage. They struck fast with missiles and railguns, then vanished before the council ships could return fire. All ships, return fire. Xalth 9 ordered, but there was nothing to fire at. The humans were gone. Then they appeared somewhere else. Struck. Vanished. Appeared again. It was not a battle. It was a hunt, and the council fleet was the prey. "This is not how warfare works," Xalth Nine's tactical officer shouted. "They are not following any doctrine." That was exactly the point. Humans did not follow Council military doctrine. They followed their own rules, learned from centuries of fighting each other. They knew every dirty trick, every ambush tactic, every way to cheat death and kill enemies. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it ended, Xalth 9 had lost 200 ships. The humans lost 12. It was impossible. It was humiliating. It was terrifying. "Request reinforcements," Xalth 9 said quietly. "Tell the Council this will not be as easy as we thought." The battles continued. Every system the Council entered became a nightmare. Human civilians did not evacuate. They stayed and fought. Cargo ships carried hidden weapons. Mining stations were actually military bases. Children in colonies knew how to operate missile systems. The Council forces had never seen total war before. Their conflicts were professional. Military against military. Leave civilians alone. Follow the rules. The humans did not care about rules. They cared about winning. A Council troop transport was heading to occupy a human mining colony when it received a distress call. A human passenger ship was in trouble. Council doctrine required giving aid. The transport moved to help. The passenger ship was a trap. When the transport got close, the passenger ship rammed it at full speed. Both ships were destroyed. The transport carried 3,000 soldiers. The passenger ship carried 300 humans who volunteered for a suicide mission. After that, Council ships stopped responding to distress calls. Human special forces infiltrated Council stations wearing captured uniforms. They planted viruses in computer systems, sabotaged fuel depots, assassinated officers. One team of 12 humans destroyed a supply base that supported an entire fleet. They walked in dressed as maintenance workers and walked out before the bombs exploded. Xalth 9 became obsessed with catching Admiral Choi Min-sok, the human commander. Every battle, Min-sok seemed to know what Xalth 9 would do before he did it. It was like fighting a ghost who could read minds. What Xalth 9 did not know was that human intelligence had stolen Council military manuals 3 years ago. Min-sok had read every book Xalth 9 studied at the academy. He knew Council tactics better than most Council officers. 3 weeks into the war, Xalth 9 tried a clever strategy. He sent a small force to attack a minor human station, while his main fleet circled around to ambush any reinforcements. It was a classic double envelopment maneuver. It had worked for him 8 times before. When Xalth 9's fleet arrived at the ambush point, Min-seok was waiting. The human admiral had predicted the exact tactic and set up his own trap. The Council lost 400 ships in 30 minutes. After the battle, Min-seok sent a message directly to Xalth 9. Page 147 of the Advanced Tactics Manual. Double envelopment. You should try reading page 231. We found that chapter more interesting. Xalth 9 pulled up his old academy manual. Page 231 was about unpredictable warfare. About abandoning doctrine. When fighting an enemy who knows your doctrine, he realized with sick horror that the humans knew every standard Council tactic. They had been studying while the Council dismissed them as primitive. The casualty reports came in daily. 10,000 dead. 20,000. 50,000. The Council was winning some battles, but losing the war. For every victory, they paid a terrible price. And the humans just kept fighting. On a Council station far from the fighting, Solix compiled reports in his small office. He was not important enough to attend the leadership meetings anymore. Not after he tried to warn them about humanity. But he kept reading the reports, kept adding up the numbers. The Council had lost 1,000 ships. The humans had lost 100. The exchange rate was terrible. And worse, other species were watching. Subject species who the Council controlled through military threat. They watched humanity fight, and refused to break. They started asking questions. Why do we obey the council? What would happen if we refused? Could we fight like the humans? Solix highlighted a report about rebellion in the Drin system. Local species had attacked council peacekeepers. The report blamed human agitators. But Solix knew better. The humans were not causing these rebellions. They were inspiring them. He wrote a memo to his superiors. We cannot win this war through military means alone. The longer we fight, the more our authority erodes across the galaxy. We are creating the thing we feared most. A united front against council power. His memo was filed away and ignored. In the council leadership chamber, Thrax demanded more ships. Send 20,000 vessels. Crush them with sheer numbers. Our economy cannot support that. Zealous protested. The cost is already devastating. Trade has collapsed. Our own people question why we are fighting. Because we must. Thrax roared. If we back down now, every species in the galaxy will think they can challenge us. We show strength, or we show weakness. There is no middle ground. Velshara looked tired. Perhaps we should consider new negotiations. Never, Thrax said. We will break them. Humans are still just animals who learn to use tools. We are civilized. Civilization always defeats barbarism. But watching the battle reports, studying the tactics, seeing how the humans fought, Velshara wondered something she would never say aloud. Perhaps the humans were not the barbarians in this war. Perhaps the council was finding out that they were not as civilized as they believed. The war was only beginning. And already the galaxy was changing. 2 months into the war, the council made their largest military commitment in 300 years. 20,000 warships gathered from across the galaxy. Every member species contributed vessels and crews. The assembled fleet stretched across space for millions of kilometers. It was beautiful and terrible. The largest concentration of military power the galaxy had ever seen. Commander Xalth 9 stood on the bridge of his new flagship. His last ship had been destroyed in the Battle of Henderson's Rock, when human kamikaze drones overwhelmed his defenses. 40 ships lost because humans were willing to sacrifice unmanned drones by the hundreds. It was not honorable. It was effective. This time we have enough ships to win, his second officer said. No tricks can save the humans from these numbers. Xalth 9 said nothing. He had thought that before. He was not sure anymore. 2 months of fighting humans had taught him something the council leadership refused to learn. Humans did not care about honor or fair fights. They cared about survival, and they were very, very good at it. The massive fleet moved into human territory. The plan was simple. Overwhelming force. No clever tactics. Just crush everything in their path until humanity had nothing left. Start with the outer colonies. Work inward toward Earth. Leave nothing but surrender in their wake. The first colony was supposed to fall in a day. It took 3 weeks. New Jeju was a mining colony built into a cluster of asteroids. 30,000 humans lived there with their families. When the council fleet arrived, Xalth 9 expected the civilians to evacuate. That was what civilized species did. You let the non-combatants leave. Then you fought the military. The humans did not evacuate. Every civilian became a soldier. Grandmothers operated anti-ship batteries. Teenagers piloted maintenance pods loaded with explosives and rammed council cruisers. The humans turned their entire colony into a weapon. The council had to fight for every asteroid, every tunnel, every room. The humans used traps and ambushes. They collapsed mining tunnels on council troops. They vented atmosphere to freeze soldiers. They fought with mining lasers and construction equipment, and their bare hands when ammunition ran out. One council boarding party reported capturing a storage bay. When they entered, they found 30 human children with mining charges strapped to their chests. The children detonated themselves and took 200 council soldiers with them. What kind of species does this? Xalth 9's tactical officer asked, his voice shaking. What kind of parents let their children die like this? The kind that knows we will kill their children anyway. Xalth 9 said quietly. He had read the reports from other battles. The council had not been kind to human prisoners. Some commanders followed protocols. Others did not. The humans knew. They always knew. Admiral Minsok commanded the defense from his flagship hidden in the asteroid field. He had pulled back his mobile fleet, leaving only volunteers to defend New Jeju. He hated the decision. 30,000 people were dying to buy time. But time was what humanity needed. The Council committed their entire reserve fleet to this attack, his intelligence officer reported. If we destroy enough ships here, they will not have the strength for another major offensive. At the cost of New Jeju? Minsok said. They volunteered. Every single one. Minsok knew. The colony governor had sent him a message. Her name was Kim Soo-jin, and she had been a teacher before the war. Now she was organizing the colony's last stand. We know what we are doing, her message said. We are not victims. We are warriors. Let us buy you the time you need. Just make sure it means something. The battle entered its third week. The Council had lost 1,000 ships, taking 2/3 of the colony. They would win. The numbers were overwhelming. But the price kept rising. That was when Governor Kim sent her final message to Minsok. We are out of ammunition and options. But we still have one weapon left. The colony's fusion reactors. All 6 of them. Minsok closed his eyes. He knew what she was planning. You will kill everyone remaining in the colony. We are dead anyway. At least this way. We take more of them with us. Heaps, I cannot order you to do this. You do not have to. We already voted. Unanimous. Tell our families on Earth we died well. Minsok gave the order. The human fleet pulled back from the area. On the Council side, Xalth 9 saw the retreat and assumed victory. His fleet moved in to occupy what remained of the colony. Governor Kim stood in the central control room with the last 200 defenders. They were out of ammunition. Many were wounded. They sang while they worked, connecting the fusion reactors into a feedback loop. Old songs from Earth. Sad songs. Defiant songs. Songs about home and hope and fighting for tomorrow. It has been an honor, Kim said to her people. She thought about her students back on Earth, about the classroom she would never see again, about the life she would never live. Then she pressed the button. 6 fusion reactors overloaded simultaneously. The explosion lit up space like a newborn star. 8,000 council ships were in the blast radius. 2,000 were destroyed instantly. Another 1,000 were crippled beyond repair. The shockwave scattered the rest of the fleet in chaos. From his safe distance, Minsok watched his sensors track the explosion. 30,000 human lives traded for 3,000 council ships. By the mathematics of war, it was a good trade. By the mathematics of his heart, it was devastating. Broadcast the footage, he ordered. I want the entire galaxy to see what New Jeju did. The footage went everywhere. Council censors tried to stop it. They failed. Human hackers made sure every species saw it. The explosion. The ships dying. And before that, recordings from the colony itself. Humans singing as they prepared to die. Children hugging their parents one last time. Families together. At the end, the message was clear. Humanity would burn everything before surrendering. There would be no easy victory. No simple occupation. Every meter of human space would cost blood and metal and time. The Council could win, but they would not survive the victory. On the Council homeworlds, public opinion shifted. Millions of Council citizens watched the New Jeju footage. Many were horrified. Some were impressed. A few started asking dangerous questions. Why are we doing this? What did humans do to deserve this? Who decided to start this war? Protests began on Vexillum Prime. Small at first, then larger. Council police broke them up, which only made them bigger. The Vexillum were bureaucrats and administrators. They had not fought a war themselves in generations. They did not understand the reality their military faced. Now they were seeing it. In the occupied territories, where the Council ruled over subject species, the rebellions got worse. The Drin attacked Council supply convoys. The Thrin refused to work in Council factories. 3 species declared independence. The Council had to pull ships from the human front to suppress uprisings. Every ship pulled was a ship that could not fight humans. The war was eating the Council from inside. Xalth 9 requested to speak with the Council leadership directly. It was not protocol. Junior commanders did not talk to the ruling Council. But after New Jeju, protocols meant less. We cannot win this war, he told them through the secure channel. His words were treason. He did not care. We can destroy humanity, but it will destroy us in the process. Every battle costs more than we can afford. Not in ships, in will. Thrax's face filled the screen. You are a coward. I will find another commander. Who? Find 100 commanders, Xalth 9 interrupted. It will not change reality. I have fought the humans for months. I know their admiral, Min Seok. I know how he thinks. He is good. Better than me. He learns from every battle. His people trust him completely. They will fight until none of them remain. We can give them that death, but our civilization will not recover. What do you suggest? Zealous asked. Negotiate. Find terms. End this before both sides are ashes. Never, Thrax said. I will request your removal. The transmission cut off. Xalth 9 later learned there was a communications problem. Technical difficulties. He suspected Zealous arranged it. Maybe Velshara. And in 10, some council members were starting to question Thrax's leadership. Starting to see the truth. But publicly, the council maintained their position. They would fight. They would win. Humanity would submit or be destroyed. In reality, the council was breaking. Their economy was in crisis. Their military was exhausted. Their subject species were in open rebellion. They had lost 30% of their fleet. Human losses were bad but sustainable. The exchange rate was getting worse, and the humans showed no signs of stopping. Every defeat made them fight harder. Every loss made them more determined. They were not a normal species. They were something the galaxy had never seen before. A species that turned tragedy into rage, that turned rage into weapons, that would rather burn the galaxy than kneel. Min Seok sent a message to Xalth 9 on an encrypted channel. The council commander almost deleted it. Then curiosity made him open it. You are a good officer, Min Seok wrote. In another time, we could have been friends, but your leaders started this war. They killed our civilians. They tried to enslave us. Now they are surprised we fight back. Tell them this from me. Tell them from every human who died at New Jeju. We will never surrender. We will never submit. If you want to end this war, you know what you must do. Recognize our freedom. Leave our space. Or keep fighting until there is nothing left of either side. Your choice. Xalth 9 saved the message. He would need it later. He could feel the war approaching some kind of ending. Either the council would see reason, or both sides would destroy each other trying to win. There was no middle ground anymore, no compromise. Only victory or mutual destruction. The galaxy watched and waited to see which path would be chosen. 4 months into the war, every species in the galaxy had an opinion about the human council conflict. Some supported the council out of fear or loyalty. Others watched with secret hope. A few began to act. Solix sat in his small office on Vexillum Prime, surrounded by data files and reports. He had stopped attending official meetings weeks ago. Nobody wanted to hear his warnings anymore, but he kept collecting evidence. Someone needed to record the truth. Even if the truth was terrible. His screen showed footage from the Battle of New Jeju. He had watched it 17 times now. Each time he noticed something new. This time, he focused on the faces of the human defenders in their final moments. They were not afraid. They were not crying. They sang. What kind of species sings while they die? Solix downloaded more files. Reports from Council military commanders. Most were classified, but he had access as part of his archival duties. The reports painted a very different picture than what Council propaganda said. The war was not going well. The Council was winning battles but losing ships at an unsustainable rate. The economy was collapsing as trade routes closed and resources went to military needs. Subject species across the Empire were restless. Protests happened daily. Some had turned violent. But worst was something Solix found in internal memos. Evidence of war crimes. Council forces using banned biological weapons on human colonies. Indiscriminate orbital bombardment of civilian centers. Prison camps, where humans were kept in terrible conditions. The Council claimed they followed the rules of war. The evidence proved otherwise. Solix copied everything to a secure data core. He did not know what he would do with it yet. But the truth needed to be preserved. Future generations would need to know what really happened. Far away in the Thryn merchant fleet, Captain Vex guided his cargo ship through neutral space. The Thryn were an old species, conquered by the Council 200 years ago. They had resisted. They had lost. Now, they served as the Council's merchant marine, moving goods and supplies across the Empire. Vex was supposed to be carrying medical supplies to a Council military base. His manifest said exactly that. His cargo hold told a different story. We are approaching the rendezvous point. His navigator said quietly. Any Council ships on sensors? No. We are clear. Vex brought his ship to a stop near a small moon. A human frigate appeared from behind the moon, moving fast. Vex transmitted his identification codes. The human ship approached carefully, weapons ready but not targeting. A message came through. Captain Vex, you have what we need? 300 tons of medical supplies, ammunition, and reactor parts. Vex replied. Why are you helping us? You are taking a huge risk. Vex thought about his grandfather. The old one had told stories about the Thryn resistance, about fighting the Council, about losing everything but never losing pride. Those stories were supposed to be warnings. Be good. But Vex heard them differently. He heard about people who fought for freedom, who chose danger over slavery. His grandfather would have liked the humans. Because I remember what it feels like to hope, Vex said. My people forgot. You are reminding us. The cargo transfer took an hour. Human crews worked quickly, moving supplies to their ship. They were young. Most of them. Barely adults. But they moved with purpose and discipline. They thanked Vex when the transfer completed. We will remember this, the human captain said. When this is over, Thryn will have friends. If you win, Vex said, we will win or we will die. There is no third option. The human ship vanished back into the darkness. Vex was not the only one helping humans. Across the galaxy, a secret network had formed. Merchants who smuggled supplies. Bureaucrats who lost paperwork. Intelligence officers who fed information to human agents. They were not many, but they were enough to matter. The Council knew something was happening but could not stop it. Their internal security was stretched too thin. Every day brought new problems. New protests. New sabotage. New questions about the war. In the neutral archival collective, Scholar Reshna documented everything. The archival collective existed outside Council control. They were historians and observers. They recorded galactic events for future generations. They tried to stay neutral, but Reshna found neutrality harder with each passing day. She reviewed footage from both sides of the war. Council propaganda showed humans as violent savages who threatened galactic peace. Human broadcasts showed the Morning Star massacre, the destroyed colonies, the Council's ultimatums demanding surrender. The truth was somewhere in the middle. But, closer to the human version than the Council admitted. "You are spending too much time on this," her colleague warned. "The Council will notice. Let them notice." Reshna said, "We are supposed to record truth. What good is that if we stay silent when truth matters most?" She prepared a comprehensive report. Every battle, every casualty, every war crime, from both sides, though the Council had committed far more. She published it to the Galactic Network with her official seal as an archival collective scholar. The Council tried to suppress it. They failed. Within hours, every species had access to the real numbers, the real costs, the real story of how the war started. Public opinion shifted again. Many Council citizens still supported the war, but many others started questioning. The subject species were less subtle. They openly celebrated human victories. Underground movements printed posters showing human soldiers with the words, "They fight, so we can hope." Ambassador Park Ji-woo operated from a hidden base on an asteroid. She had survived 3 assassination attempts in the last month. The Council wanted her dead. She kept broadcasting anyway. Her latest message went to every species in the galaxy. She appeared on screens in her simple suit, her face tired but determined. Behind her was footage of the Morning Star dying, of New Jeju burning, of human colonies reduced to rubble. 4 months ago, we came to the Council in peace, she said. We wanted to join galactic civilization. We offered friendship and trade. The Council demanded submission. When we refused to give up our freedom, they declared war. When we defended ourselves, they called us violent. She paused, letting the footage speak. We did not choose this war. We did not want it. But we will finish it. We will fight until every human is dead, or until we are free. There is no third option. The Council can end this war today. Recognize our sovereignty, leave our space, stop the killing, or continue fighting until both sides are destroyed. The choice is theirs. Then she added something new. To the other species under Council control, we see you. We know your struggles. We are not just fighting for human freedom. We are fighting to prove that the Council's power is not absolute. That resistance is possible. Win or lose, we are showing the galaxy that freedom is worth fighting for. The broadcast ended. Within hours, rebellions erupted on 6 Council worlds. The Drin attacked military bases. The Thrin went on strike. 3 minor species declared independence. The Council had to divert half their military strength to suppress uprisings. Admiral Min Seok watched the tactical displays update. The Council was pulling ships from the human front to fight on their own worlds. Every ship they pulled gave humanity breathing room. Room to repair, to resupply, to prepare the next move. Ambassador Ji-woo is good, his aide said. She is fighting a war with words, while we fight with ships. Words matter, Min Seok said. We can destroy Council fleets. She is destroying their authority. Both are necessary. A message came through from an unexpected source. Commander Xalth 9 requesting secure communication. Min Seok considered refusing. Then curiosity won. Xalth 9's face appeared on the screen. The Kryn commander looked exhausted. His scales were dull. His eyes were tired. Admiral Min Seok, we meet finally, if only by transmission. Commander, what do you want? To talk. Warrior to warrior. Not on behalf of my government, just between us. Min Seok nodded slowly. I am listening. You are winning this war, Xalth 9 said. Not on the battlefield. Not completely. But strategically. The Council is breaking. Our economy cannot sustain this. Our people are turning against us. Our subjects are rebelling. You have done what I thought was impossible. You have fought the entire Council and survived. We have done more than survive. We have shown the galaxy what we are. Yes, you have. Xalth 9 looked down. I want you to know, I did not agree with this war. I followed orders. That is what soldiers do. But I have seen things that haunt me, things my government has done, things I helped do. I cannot change the past, but perhaps I can help shape the future. What are you saying? There are many in the Council military who think like me. We are tired of fighting a war that should never have started. We are tired of killing for leaders who do not understand what war really costs. If I could find a way to end this honorably, I would take it. There is only one honorable end, Minsok said. Recognize our freedom. Leave our space. Make reparations for the lives you took. Then perhaps we can talk about peace. I will try. But my leaders are proud. They may choose destruction, over admitting they were wrong. Then we will give them destruction. Xalth 9 nodded. I understand. If we meet in battle again, I will do my duty. But know this. I respect you. I respect your people. You have taught me something I did not know before. The strongest weapon is not ships or guns. It is the refusal to surrender what you believe in. The transmission ended. Minseok sat quietly for a long time. He thought about Xalth 9. About the good people on the other side, who were trapped by bad decisions their leaders made. He thought about how many more would die before this ended. In the council chambers on Vexillum Prime, the leadership met in emergency session. Thrax demanded more resources for the military. Zealous showed economic projections that proved more resources did not exist. Velshara suggested opening back-channel negotiations. Thrax accused her of cowardice. The humans have made us look weak. Thrax roared. Every day we do not crush them completely. Our authority erodes. We must show strength. 1-7. 1-7. Strength? Velshara asked coldly. We have shown strength for 4 months. We have lost thousands of ships, billions in economic value. The loyalty of our subjects. What more strength do you want to show? The strength to destroy ourselves? The argument continued for hours. No decisions were made. The council was paralyzed by pride and fear and denial. Outside the council chambers, protesters gathered. Thousands of Vexillum citizens demanding peace. Council security kept them back, but barely. The protests grew every day. Solix watched from his office window. He thought about the data core in his desk with all the evidence. He thought about the human ambassador's words. About fighting for what you believe in. He made a decision. He copied the data core and sent it to every major news network, every opposition party, every public forum he could find. The complete truth about the war. Every crime. Every lie. Every terrible thing the council did. His career was over. He might be arrested, but the truth would be free. That mattered more than his safety. The galaxy was choosing sides. And slowly, painfully, more chose humanity's side. Not because they loved humans, but because they were tired of bowing to the council, tired of being controlled, tired of being afraid. The war was not over, but its end was approaching. One way or another, the galaxy would never be the same. 6 months after the war began, both sides were exhausted. The numbers told a terrible story. The council had lost 60% of its military fleet. 600,000 soldiers dead. Economic damage measured in trillions. Rebellions on 30 worlds. 3 species had successfully broken away from council control. Humanity's losses were worse by percentage but smaller by numbers. 40% of the human population was dead. 12 colonies completely destroyed. Earth itself had been raided twice, though the attacks were repelled. The human economy was running on reserves and desperation. Every ship, every soldier, every resource was committed to the war. Neither side could continue much longer. The question was, which side would break first? In the Council leadership chamber, the atmosphere was toxic. Thrax had been removed from his position after 3 senior military commanders threatened mutiny. Zealous survived, but barely. Velshara held on to power by promising change. The Council government was breaking apart. "We need to end this," Velshara said at the emergency session. "Our people are starving. Our economy is collapsing. Our empire is fragmenting. We cannot win. We cannot surrender." Thrax shouted from his seat. He was no longer in command, but still attended meetings. "If we show weakness now, every species will rebel. The Council will cease to exist." "The Council is already ceasing to exist," Zealous said quietly. He looked old, tired. His papers were scattered and disorganized for the first time anyone could remember. "We have 2 choices. Negotiate peace with humanity and try to salvage what remains. Or fight until both sides are destroyed. Those are the only options left." "I vote for peace," Velshara said. "Who agrees?" The vote was close. But peace won. Barely. The message went to Ambassador Park Ji-woo through neutral channels. The Council requested negotiations. Real ones this time. They were ready to discuss terms. Ji-woo sat in her small quarters on the asteroid base, reading the message. She felt nothing. No triumph. No satisfaction. Just exhaustion. 6 months of war had taken everything from her. She was 40 years old and felt ancient. She thought about the numbers. Millions dead. Both sides. All because the Council refused to treat humanity as equals. All because they tried to force submission instead of offering respect. "They are ready to talk," she told the human government leaders on the secure channel. "What are our terms?" The president appeared on screen. He looked as tired as Ji-woo felt. Full recognition of human sovereignty. Complete Council withdrawal from all human territory. Reparations for destroyed colonies. And reformation of the Council to prevent this from happening to another species. "They will never agree to the last one," Ji-woo said. "Then we keep fighting. We cannot fight much longer. Our reserves are almost gone. Neither can they. It is a question of who breaks first." The president paused. "Get the best terms you can. But do not give away our freedom. Every human who died for that. Do not make their deaths meaningless." The peace conference convened on a neutral station run by the Archival Collective. Security was intense. Both sides brought delegations. No weapons were allowed except for security personnel, and they had to be from neutral species. Ji-woo walked into the conference room. Across from her sat Velshara, Zealous, and 3 other council representatives. No, Thrax. He had been forbidden from attending after threatening to sabotage negotiations. "Ambassador Park," Velshara said formally, "thank you for coming. Let us not pretend this is a social event." Ji-woo replied, "You asked for negotiations because you are losing. We came because we are tired of killing. State your offer." Jua. Zealous arranged his papers nervously. "The Council is prepared to recognize human sovereignty over all currently held territories. We will withdraw our forces within 90 days. We will pay reparations for civilian casualties, according to established galactic conventions." "Not enough," Ji-woo said. "You destroyed entire colonies, killed millions, used banned weapons, tried to commit genocide. Standard reparations do not cover that. What do you want?" Velshara asked. "Triple the standard reparations. Complete Council military withdrawal within 30 days, not 90. No Council military vessels in human space ever again without explicit permission. And most important, reformation of the Council governance structure to include representation for all species, not just the ruling powers. The council representatives reacted with shock. That last demand is impossible, Zealous said. It would mean dismantling the entire council structure. And then we continue the war, Jiwoo said simply. She stood to leave. Wait. Velshara raised one elegant hand. Please sit. Let us discuss. The negotiations lasted 3 days. Both sides were exhausted. Both sides wanted peace. But pride kept getting in the way. The council did not want to admit they were wrong. Humanity did not want to accept peace without justice. On the third day, Commander Xalth 9 arrived uninvited. He walked into the conference room with Admiral Min Seok. The two military commanders stood together. We do not have time for politics, Xalth 9 said. We are the ones fighting this war. We are the ones watching soldiers die. We will tell you what peace looks like. You have no authority here, Zealous protested. I have the authority of every soldier who died in this war, Xalth 9 said. Both sides. Admiral Min Seok and I have been talking. We agree on terms. Min Seok spoke. The council will recognize human sovereignty. All council forces leave human space within 30 days. Reparations will be paid at triple the standard rate over 10 years. In exchange, humanity will not demand immediate council reformation. Instead, the council will create a commission to study governance reforms, with human and other species input. Implementation can take time, but it must happen. That is a compromise, Jiwoo said slowly. War is about compromise, Xalth 9 said. Both sides want something. Both sides must give something, or we all die fighting for principles we will not live to see. The council representatives looked at each other. Finally, Velshara nodded. I agree to these terms. As do I, Zealous said. I must consult with my government, Jiwoo said. She sent the proposal to Earth. The response came back in an hour. Accepted. The treaty was written and signed. Security feeds broadcasted across the galaxy. The Human Council War was over. Humanity had won its freedom. The Council survived, but was changed forever. Jiwoo stood with Min Seok and Xalth 9 after the signing. The three of them looked at each other. 6 months ago, they had been enemies. Now, they were just tired people who had seen too much death. I want you to know something, Jiwoo said to the council representatives. We did not want this war. We wanted to join your civilization. We wanted to learn from older species. We wanted friendship. I know, Velshara said quietly. We made a terrible mistake. We saw your strength and called it violence. We saw your passion and called it instability. We thought we were advanced and you were primitive. What happens now? Zealous asked. Now we rebuild, Min Seok said. Both of us. And we remember what happened. We remember the cost of refusing to respect other species. We remember that peace is not the same as submission. The conference ended. Ships began leaving human space. The council fleet withdrew. Humanity started rebuilding, destroyed colonies. The galaxy watched and learned. 3 months later, Jiwoo stood on Earth looking at the memorial being constructed. It was a massive wall, listing every human name. Every person who died in the war. 300 million names. It would take years to complete. She was not alone. Xalth 9 stood beside her. He had resigned from the council military and taken a position with the new Council Reform Commission. He was one of the few council members humans would trust. I want to add names to this memorial, he said. Council soldiers who died. All of them. Jiwoo thought about that. She thought about all the hatred, all the pain, all the death. Then she thought about the future, about building something better than what came before. Yes, she said. Add their names. We remember everyone who died. We remember what hatred costs. They stood quietly, watching construction crews work. Behind them, a new council representative arrived. One of the Thrin, one of the formerly subject species. The council was changing. Slowly, painfully, but changing. In the months and years that followed, the galaxy transformed. The council reformed its government. Subject species gained representation. Trade opened, with humanity, on equal terms. Not everything was perfect. Many still harbored resentments. Many relationships remained broken. But something fundamental had shifted. The council was no longer absolute. Species knew they could resist if they were willing to pay the price. And humanity stood as proof that freedom could be won against impossible odds. 5 years after the war, Ambassador Park Ji-woo attended the first Galactic Assembly under the new council structure. Representatives from 200 species attended. All equal, all with votes, all with voices. Velshara approached her during a break. The Shelthara matriarch looked older now. Tired. But perhaps wiser. I wanted to thank you, Velshara said. For what? Starting a war that killed millions? For forcing us to change. For showing us what we had become. The old council was dying. It was corrupt and cruel. It took humanity refusing to submit to show us the truth. You saved us from ourselves, even if the cost was terrible. Ji-woo did not know how to respond. She had spent 5 years angry at the council, angry at the war, angry at the deaths. But looking at the assembly hall, at the representatives from species who were once voiceless, she felt something shift. We did not do it for you, she said finally. We did it for us, for our freedom, but I am glad something good came from all that pain. So am I. The session began. Species rose to speak about trade agreements, defense pacts, scientific cooperation, cultural exchange. The things the council should have been doing all along. The things that could have happened without war if the old council had been willing to listen. But history does not run on should-have-beens. It runs on what actually happened. And what happened was this. Humanity came to the galaxy seeking peace. They were offered submission. They chose war. And in that war, they changed everything. The galaxy was not perfect. It was still full of conflicts and problems, but it was better than before. More free, more just, more aware that power without accountability leads to disaster. Humanity paid a terrible price to teach that lesson. 300 million lives, countless resources, years of suffering. But they also proved something the galaxy desperately needed to learn. Freedom is worth fighting for. Respect cannot be demanded. And sometimes, when faced with impossible choices, the only answer is to refuse to choose and create a third option through sheer, bloody-minded determination. The humans called it stubbornness. The galaxy called it inspiration. Either way, nothing would ever be the same. On Earth, the memorial wall finally reached completion. 300 million names carved in stone. At the bottom, a single inscription, chosen by vote of the survivors. They demanded we kneel. We taught them to listen. And beside the human wall, another wall with different names. Council soldiers. Civilian casualties from all species. Everyone who died in the war. A reminder that victory has costs. That pride has prices. That war touches everyone. Min Seok stood before the completed memorial on the dedication day. He was old now, retired from the military, but he still came to remember. Behind him, thousands gathered, humans and aliens together. Species that once fought, now standing in shared grief. We won, he said quietly to the names on the wall. We won our freedom. I hope it was worth what you paid. I promise, we will honor your sacrifice. We will build something worthy of your deaths. We will never forget. Reasoned of the bath. The galaxy moved forward. Scars remained, but so did hope. And perhaps that was the real victory. Not that humanity won the war, but that after all the death and destruction, both sides chose to build something better rather than continue the cycle of violence. The peace was not perfect. It was built on ashes and grief and hard lessons learned too late. But it was peace. And after 6 months of war, peace was the greatest victory either side could claim.